What's up, everybody? Welcome to the inaugural episode of Wrestling with the Week, a pop culture collision of the last 7 days. I'm James Willems, along with Scorpio Sky. Sky, how's it going?
What a week. James, we got a lot to get into. I'm so excited. The very first episode. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. I agree with you. Your sentiment of what a week is kind of how I feel every week, which is good because that's what our show is all about. But I'm doing okay. Yourself?
Oh, things are going really well with me, and I have a little bit of a surprise for you.
Okay, what's that?
I have purchased my second video game.
Okay, all right. Oh, you're throwing a lot. This is we're 90 seconds into the first episode. You're throwing a lot at
Coming
me.
in hot.
You're coming in hot. Can we tease that? Can we tease that, and then we'll bring that back.
Oh yeah.
So obviously this is our first episode. This is really exciting. It feels kind of weird for me because we've done several of these already, just as kind of for funsies and as tests and what have you. So I guess we should explain kind of what this show is, right?
Of course. Be my guest.
All right. I mean, I would say it's hard to nail down, but basically you, Scorpio Sky, are a larger-than-life personality coming from a professional wrestling background. You've been doing this for so long. You're wrestling with AEW. You're entrenched in that world. And then James Willems, small town boy, moves to the big city. I'm not good at doing my own intro. Small town boy with huge aspirations moves to the big city, owns a bunch of Power Rangers figures, and then they put us in a room together and they said, where can we find a common ground? And it's kind of, the show is that common ground, that collision of those two worlds.
I don't know why, but when you first started explaining yourself, like it sounded like the Jeffersons. like are you moving on up to the big city?
I often introduce myself to people that don't know me as kind of like the Jeffersons.
Yeah. I mean, from the short period of time I know you, I can definitely see, I see a lot of the Jeffersons in you.
But as far as the show goes, we get into a room together and then we just talk about the things in the last 7 days. Maybe we'll eke in a couple things that are a little bit longer than that. But we just kind of talk, bring news stories, bring interesting things that we've found. And most importantly, I think we bring fun anecdotes from our personal life kind of to the discussion, bring it to the table, and then we just rip it apart because you and I, without knowing each other too well, I feel like we have very similar sentimentalities. Like the things that make us laugh are pretty similar. We have an easy time talking to each other.
Yes, I would definitely agree with that. Yeah. The little time we've spent together doing this, there's definitely a rapport there, and I think this is going to work. It's interesting to me to. We've talked about this in the past that we were actually strangers at the beginning of this project, which is a new, unique thing that I think is going to be fun for everybody that's tuning in. And it's going to be fun when we agree on certain things. Maybe we butt heads on others. And, but that's how it works when you're friends.
Yeah. It's a great push and pull. Even in this, I think this first episode is going to be a great example because there's going to be some things that I'll bring to the table that you may not have any previous interest in, and it's kind of can I fish hook you into, like, is this something that you're going to be into, which we've already kind of teased with the second video game, which is a huge step. This is new for you guys, but for me, this is a big deal. And then we have other things that you'll bring to the table that we're going to hear about, sports and style and fashion and most of the things that make someone cool, that you're going to try and fish hook me into. And I think that's kind of a really exciting thing for me in this podcast.
The best way I like to describe this show to people is we are probably the only show where you're going to have someone talking about Kanye West one moment and Art Barr the next. For those of you who know who Art Barr is, look it up. Get on the Google machine.
Yeah, I was going to say, we recommend listening or watching this podcast with Wikipedia open, just off to the side. And that goes for me as well. Art Barr. Got it.
Legend.
Yeah, and I would also be remiss before we jump right into our first topic, which I think is a great example of what the show is. I would be remiss if I did not mention producer Eric. Eric, say hello.
Hey guys, happy to be here. Very excited for this show to get off the ground. Also very excited that we are 5 minutes in and there's been an Art Barr reference. So that one feels good to me. That's great. Master of the Frog Splash, Art Barr. Thank you so much. But guys, I want to let you take it away, and definitely still haven't mentioned how Scorpio Sky is wearing an NSYNC shirt.
Thank you so much for mentioning that. You know, it was tearing up my heart that nobody was talking about it.
Oh, nice job, very nice. Is it too late to cancel this? Is it too late to cancel this? Thank you, Eric. That's the last we'll ever be hearing from you.
James, are you not an NSYNC fan? Can we just clear the air on that for a second?
Oh, I'm a big NSYNC fan, though. You know, we have a list of stuff, and I want to talk about this. NSYNC or Backstreet Boys?
I go NSYNC. I like Backstreet Boys, but I go NSYNC.
I had a similar discussion with my wife the other day about NSYNC or Backstreet Boys, and I think I'm also NSYNC. I think they had way more commercial poppy hits, whereas if you ask me maybe who the better singers are, like it felt like Backstreet Boys had ballads and kind of like vocal songs, which doesn't impress me. So,
like, I can agree with that. The thing is about all of these types of groups is when I was like in high school or in junior high, it was not cool for just a guy that's trying to be cool to be fans of NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. It was like the girls that were fans, and people would make fun of you if you listened to them. So I'd kind of listen to them behind closed doors. But flash forward now, when I go out, or when I used to go out to bars or whatever, when these songs come on, I look around, people in my age group, they know all the words, which makes me feel like I'm not the only one that was listening behind closed doors. Their songs are awesome. Let's all just
absolutely weren't. Yeah, they're great. They're amazing karaoke songs and fantastic. And if we ever get to go out to a bar again, I'm totally down to do some NSYNC karaoke with you.
Ooh, I can't sing really well, but yeah, I'm down. I used to actually walk to the ring to an NSYNC song for a while.
Oh, yeah? Which one?
Yeah. Tearing Up My Heart.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful story.
Song.
Unfortunately, I would say that segs pretty well into one of the first things we wanted to talk about this week, because we can't go out. We can't go to bars because of COVID-19, and it's a very serious thing. I don't want to diminish the seriousness of what's been happening and how it's been affecting people, but there has been a new development in this whole situation that I thought was kind of interesting. We recently read that a gorilla got COVID at a San Diego zoo.
Yeah, I did read about that. Was that something?
My phone thought I was Googling for gorillas getting COVID at the zoo, and so I was like, here, I'll let you know. No, I don't care. We already know. Watch Wrestling with the Week.
Yes. I don't know how that happens. It's very confusing to me. Only thing I can do is prayers up to that gorilla. I hope he or she has a very speedy, fast recovery with not too many bad symptoms. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are there gorillas that are he's and she's? That's a dumb question. I really shouldn't ask that.
Yeah. There must be.
Wikipedia.
I mean, off the top of my head, it does sound like the kind of justifiable question because they're so. But no, there must be. You see gorillas with little babies and stuff.
Right, of course, right? Why did I ask that? First episode, I look like an idiot.
Here's the thing.
Come on.
If you feel that way, watching this podcast is the perfect way to find out, because we got to the bottom of it right away. It's weird because with diseases, you always think of it going the other way. Like a lot of viruses and stuff you hear about, like, someone went into the jungle and they fooled around with a monkey, and now we're dealing with this worldwide pandemic. But I feel bad for the gorillas in this case, because someone went and got a little didn't wear a mask or whatever. I don't know how you would transfer that to a gorilla, but I feel bad because now in this,
maybe, sorry to cut you off, maybe it came in contact with the pro wrestling gorilla.
Ooh, that's a reference. You think so?
I don't know.
Someone went to suplex the gorilla?
Yeah, it's very contagious. Yeah. It's possible. I don't know.
That's true. That's very true. I feel bad. Anyway, Godspeed to those gorillas. We wish you the best. We send our love to you. I always appreciate how jacked gorillas are. That's it. That's my final opinion. They're just awesome. So anyway, but back to what species at the top of their game. Want to toss to a little segment that is unofficially going to be called Sky's NBA Corner. I'm just going to toss to you on this one.
For anyone that knows me, that follows me on social media platforms, they know I am a huge NBA fan, lifelong Lakers fan. Grew up here in Southern California, and the Lakers are in our blood. It's in our culture, and so I can't be a part of a show unless I can talk about my Lakers, talk about my love for the NBA, and it's been quite a week in the NBA. For starters, we're coming off the shortest offseason in American team sports history. The Lakers won the championship in October, and here we are right back in January. The season is underway. It actually started last month. Quick turnaround. But the Lakers are looking really good. They are actually on the longest road winning streak to start a season since maybe forever. But the biggest news, I would say, of the last week is that James Harden from the Houston Rockets was traded to the Brooklyn Nets to join Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant in a blockbuster trade that involved Karis LeVert, Jared Allen, Victor Oladipo, and about 150 draft picks. It could change the Eastern Conference if it works. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden, three of the probably top 5 to 10 best offensive players in the league. I'm not really sweating, to be honest with you when it comes to if we meet up with them in the finals, because there are these X factors that may work and may not work, but they will be fun to watch.
I only have one follow-up question. Yes. What's basketball?
Well,
and where does Art Barr fall into all of this?
Do you have your Wikipedia up?
Oh, here it is. Okay, basketball.
Basketball.
It is interesting. It's very infectious because I don't really watch basketball. The last time I think I watched basketball, just in the sport in general, I was pretty into college basketball when I was in college because you kind of had to root for your team. And so that was the last time that I feel like I watched basketball regularly. But it is interesting to hear how enthusiastic you are when you're talking about it, and and you can't avoid it. So you go on social media or whatever, and you see things trending, and I just saw Nets trending, and I was like, well, that makes sense. There's 2 of them on a court, right? So I didn't know the ins and outs, and you kind of covered it, but I guess I'm just so out of the loop on it that I just don't know why. How can one player makes such a huge difference in basketball?
I would say basketball, in my opinion, above maybe every other sport, can have the outcome of the game determined based off one player. Obviously football could also be close when it comes to say quarterbacks. You have a great quarterback, but basketball, any player at any position who is truly great and elite can take over an entire game. And we saw it with, Michael Jordan, and even before that with Larry Bird and a lot of legends. And so you've got these offensively incredible players like James Harden. I'm not the hugest James Harden fan. Obviously, he's not a Laker, but but I cannot take away his skill with his handles and his ability to score the basketball is truly elite. And you put him with Kevin Durant, who's one of the best players of all time, one of the best scorers of all time, and Kyrie Irving, who is also one of the greatest scorers of all time. So you take 3 of the best scorers in the league, you put them on the same team, they're going to score a lot of points. It's going to be tough to defend that team because each player can command a double, but there's only 5 guys on each court. So who are you going to double and who are you going to leave open? It's very interesting. But again, there's other intangibles. Kyrie Irving It's been a little bit MIA. We don't know what he's going to do. We don't know, there's only one basketball that you play with. So we don't know how well they're going to share the ball. We don't know how well they're going to be defensively. And on top of that, the Nets gave up a lot of their depth. They gave up Karis LeVert. They gave up Jared Allen. I know these are just names to you, but these are backup players that part of the reason the Nets were so good was their depth. And when the stars go to the bench comes in, and the bench can still hold those leads and extend it. And they gave that up. So now when you have stars in the starting lineup and they go to the bench and James Willems and Scorpio Sky have to go in and take the place because they got nobody else, it might be a little tough.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I think it is interesting, the thought that, like, obviously you can be great, but a team is great when you can't do it alone. That's what I learned from Space Jam, at least. But I think I try and put it into a context that, like, I kind of do understand. And I think of in, like, NBA video games, how the AI can do certain things with certain players, but as soon as you, like, take control of that, like, one player, and then you're just running amok across the entire game, how much of a difference that can kind of make in that sport, which I feel like I'm talking about video games, but I feel like I'm talking about them in a realm that you might actually care about, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
As some people may or may not know, I hated video games. I was not a fan of video games. I was the type of person I'd be hanging out with friends. If they start playing games, I'd go home. I just, like, from when I was a kid, I enjoyed them, but even in my teenage years and all the way up to adult, I just couldn't connect with them. I really didn't. I didn't hate on people that did, but it just was not for me. And then COVID happened, and we were on lockdown. We had to stay inside the house. We couldn't do anything. We couldn't go anywhere. And I just saw a controller, and I picked it up. And the NBA was like every other sport, was on hold. And I missed the NBA, and I saw 2K19, and I said, okay, I'm going to play it. And I really enjoyed it. I downloaded 2K20. Next thing I knew, I was buying a PS4 Pro, eventually moved on to the PS5 and 2K21, and I am obsessed with the game. I play it all the time. But that's been the only game I've played until now.
This is astounding, and I cannot emphasize, I know some of you are listening to this first time, I cannot emphasize how incredible this is, because the transition that's happened from just when we started preparing this podcast to today is remarkable. Can you please, if you don't mind, tell me what game you got? Because I have my guesses, but
I would love to know your guess, actually.
You want to hear my guess?
Yeah, what's your guess?
Demon's Souls.
No, way off.
Oh, okay.
Never heard of it.
All right,
Never heard of it. The second game is Madden 21.
Okay. All right.
I figure why if I enjoy the franchise mode so much on the basketball game, why not hop over to the football game and try it? And I've only played a little bit, but what I did, I really enjoyed. Like, obviously, football in general is just such a fun sport, and then you go into the video game and, like, just all the things you can do. But I'm not going to pretend like I'm an expert on football. I don't know all the rules. I don't know all the players. But from what I do know, it's just, I'm having a blast playing it. And I will say this, the only other thing is VR. I've gotten really, really into VR. There's this game, I believe it's on the Oculus. It's called Beat Saber. Have you played it?
Oh, yeah. I know Beat Saber. Yeah, you bet.
So much fun. I mean, like, when you're, like, chopping at these cubes and you're, like, almost like dancing, and the music's really good. I really enjoy it. That game is so much fun. I recommend it to anybody else. But yeah, Madden 21, that's where I'm at right now. I'm currently in the NBA Finals on 2K21, so I'm going to finish that off first, and then really, really dig my teeth into Madden 21.
Gaming is such a great space for sports fans, and this kind of goes to what we were saying about the NSYNC thing, like feeling like back in the 90s you kind of had to hide and listen to these songs that secretly everyone was in love with but couldn't admit to for some reason at the time. But now it's like, okay, like there was always, growing up for me, the difference between video games and sports. Like, you either went and you played sports or you played video games. Despite the fact that if you love sports, the video game version of sports is like some of the most fun versions of that thing, right? Like,
absolutely.
I get it. It would be great to gather up a bunch of your friends, like, and all go play basketball. But when you can't, the video game version is like pretty close. It's like pretty close to the next best thing. You know, if you don't always have 10 friends who are ready to go and like have a court ready to go. And especially like you think football, because like even growing up, I kind of like I was a day walker. I lived between worlds. So I like played sports with my friends, but then I also went home and played a lot of video games. But if you didn't have access to like a football field or whatever, like you're never going to be able to assemble a full team to play football. Like, it doesn't matter how many Rugrats you know in your neighborhood. Like, it's just not going to happen. And so the ability to do it with a video game and just like, it's pretty spot on. I would say to you, can I make a couple suggestions?
Absolutely. Please do.
Because now that its hooks are in you, I'm not going to try and rip you into that world, but I just want to slowly ease you in with a couple things that I think are close. And please, if you're watching, listening, I would love for you guys to toss out suggestions as well, or tell me if my suggestions are terrible. But there's a whole like back catalog of old games, like retro sports games that you might enjoy as almost like the same way you might play a mobile game or something. So in terms of like football, there's this classic game, Tecmo Super Bowl, which it just looks like little dots almost running around its screen when you compare it to something like a brand new Madden. But like, it's super fun. I downloaded the other day. I'm not even into hockey, but I downloaded NHL 94. So that's the game that came out in 1994 to play hockey, and it was still fun because it's like it's the sport, but it's like such a fun arcadey version of it, and it's over in 5 minutes or whatever, so it's not a full simulation, but it could be fun. I think you might. I'll send some over to you, but I think you might enjoy like exploring some of that retro world of games too.
Yes, absolutely. I'm very interested to see what else I can get into. And if anyone listening has any suggestions, please reach out to us. Go on Instagram, WWTWPOD, it's Wrestling with the Week podcast, and leave a comment under a picture and let us know what I should be playing. And you know, it's funny that you talked about actually people getting together and playing, because another impact of COVID is on New Year's Day, every single year for 6 years straight, my friends here in Southern California, wrestling friends, would all get together and we'd play a big group basketball game. And there would be anywhere from 15 to 20 of us. We'd all get together and we'd run 5-on-5 full court. And it is so much fun. It's really the only time I get a chance to play. And it's great because a lot of us don't play. So we're all breaking out the Ben Gay and wrapping ourselves
strapping
up.
Your knees,
Yeah, grizzled. Yeah, exactly. And we're getting in there and we're all terrible for the first game. You know, like the score will be like 3-2 for the first 10 minutes. But it's so much fun. And we've done it 6 years in a row, but obviously we could not do it this year. This would have been 7. So unfortunately, but you have to do what you have to do. You know, we have to slow the spread, obviously. And we'll come back next year. But I definitely on New Year's Day was jumping on 2K and I had a blast.
That's awesome. You should see about maybe playing online with some of your friends if they got PS5s or whatever. You like to play online with friends. Let me know. You don't call me for the actual like going outside and playing the sport, but you know, I could press X. I can do that. This episode of Wrestling with the Week is brought to you by Honey. These days, it feels like online shopping is the only shopping we really do. And that's where today's sponsor, Honey, comes into play. It's the free browser extension that scours the internet for promo codes and automatically tests them when you're checking out. It's basically your online shopping best friend. And here's how it works. You get Honey on your computer for free. It's just 2 easy clicks. Then when you're checking out on over 30,000 supported sites, Honey pops up and all you have to do is click Apply Coupons. You wait a couple seconds as Honey searches for coupons for that site, and if Honey finds working codes, it'll apply the best one to your cart No questions asked. Honey has found its over 17 million members over $2 billion in savings and supports all kinds of retailers from tech and gaming sites to fashion brands, even food delivery services. It's simple. If you have a computer, Honey should be on it. It's free and works with whatever browser you use. Plus, you can get Honey for free today at joinhoney.com/week, W-E-E-K. That's joinhoney.com/week, so they know we sent you. Give it a try and see how much you'll save today. Thank you, Honey, for supporting today's episode. This episode of Wrestling with the Week is brought to you by Keeps. As guys, so much of our identity is wrapped up in our hair, from how it feels after getting a fresh cut to the way it's perfectly styled before going out. That's why when we get into our 20s and 30s and start noticing the first signs of hair loss, it feels like you're going to have a panic attack. I mean, let's face it, no guy is ever ready to go bald unless they want to, Sky. Thankfully, now there's Keeps, the simple and easy way to keep your hair. Did you know that 2 out of 3 guys will experience some form of male pattern baldness by the time they're 35? The best way to prevent hair loss is to do something about it while you still have your hair. Did you also know that Keeps offers generic versions of the only 2 FDA-approved hair loss products out there? You may have tried them before, but probably never for this price. Keeps is a simple and affordable solution. Keeps treatments typically take between 4 to 6 months to see results, so it's important to act fast. The sooner you start using Keeps, the more hair you will save. If you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/week to receive your first month of treatment for free. That's KEEPS.com/week. This episode of Wrestling with the Week is brought to you by HelloFresh. You've heard of HelloFresh, and we want to thank them for sponsoring this episode. With HelloFresh, you get fresh, pre-measured ingredients and mouth-watering seasonal recipes delivered right to your door. HelloFresh lets you skip those trips to the grocery store and makes home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. And that's why it's America's #1 meal kit. HelloFresh cuts out stressful meal planning and grocery store trips so you can enjoy cooking and get dinner on the table in about 30 minutes or less, which is crazy fast. HelloFresh also offers the flexibility you need with customizable orders every single week. You can easily change your delivery days or food preferences. You can skip a week whenever you need to. It's all about getting the meals you want to eat, and HelloFresh makes that as easy as their recipes. I actually have really enjoyed using HelloFresh. I'm a big fan of cooking, and it makes it very easy. The step-by-step process always results in a delicious meal. There's no way to screw it up at all. Trust me, because I would. Eating right is important to me, and HelloFresh lets me do that with little effort. So go to HelloFresh.com/week10 and use code week10 for 10 free meals, including free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com/week10 and use code week10 for 10 free meals and free shipping. It's an amazing deal. Thank you, HelloFresh. We have some other things. We have some other news stories that I want to get through, and then we also want to talk about AEW. I want to toss out one more game suggestion in the VR realm, Pistol Whip. If you like Beat Saber, you should check out Pistol Whip because it's essentially the same thing, diminishes it a little bit, but it's you're like an assassin going down a path and you're shooting like dudes that are popping out. So like an old school arcade game where you're like shooting people or whatever and you're ducking and dodging bullets, but it's all to the rhythm of a music, like of a song.
Oh, that sounds... Wait, I feel like I may have played that.
Oh yeah?
Is that VR?
It's VR. It's a great VR game.
I think I have played it.
Okay,
yeah, I think I have played that, maybe. Yeah, it's so fun. All the VR games are really fun.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like they made an announcement? Are you into Star Wars at all? I genuinely don't know.
So that's the other one. I have never seen any form of Star Wars movies. None.
Eric, how do you feel about that?
I'm floored. Listen, I'm not saying like, whoa, man, Star Wars. You got to see that. Incredible. I just can't believe that there have been how many movies and you've never seen a Star Wars movie, dude. Whoa.
Can we get a segment on the books? Can we get a segment on the books where we'll do Star Wars? We'll do like a Star Wars review, and then we'll come one movie at a time or whatever. We'll have Sky.
Is that what this podcast is?
Wait a minute. Hold up.
No, it's just a segment. Just a segment.
So I have nothing against Star Wars, but I just happened to not see the movies growing up. And then once I got to a certain point and I would tell people that I haven't seen the movies and I got that reaction, I'm like, oh, I can't watch them now because this is good. Okay. I just want to keep getting that reaction.
Gotcha. All right. That's fair.
I think that the reaction you're going to get for people listening to this podcast is just a lot of people being like, not mad at you, but absolutely floored.
Impressed. It's impressive.
I think impressive is a great word for it. I don't know that it's the right word for it, but I think it's a great word for it. That is truly impressive that you, just being in the industry that you're in, it just feels like, to me, pro wrestling and Star Wars have this, there's a thing, like, I don't know, man. I can't believe it. I really can't believe it.
I have seen Mean Girls several times, though.
It's the same. It's, if you compare the movies beat for beat, they're very similar to Mean Girls.
Mean Girls is great.
All right. Well, movie. Then I strike the segment suggestion from the record. I actually like the idea of Sky being able to always get that reaction out of people. I appreciate that. And yeah, I think impressive is the word.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. I'm sorry, Eric.
He's fine. He'll survive.
I mean, apology barely accepted, but I still accept it.
Well, here's something that you probably won't care about at all. There's a new Star Wars game coming. Anyway, some dude in Australia stormed an animal shelter in full tactical gear, okay? Loaded guns to get his cat back. Yeah, this is the kind of weird stuff that happens in 7 days.
So wait, where did he storm?
An animal shelter. So I guess his cat had been taken to an animal shelter, okay? And he's in big trouble now, but someone took his cat and it went to an animal shelter, and so he decided to get fully dressed in tack gear. And this is, I'm looking at the image for this animal shelter, and it has a billboard, and the place is called Lost Dogs Home, and it has the sweetest image of a cat and a dog huddled together. Like it seems hard to interpret this as a lockdown place for cats and dogs. It looks like it's a place where they go to shelter them when they go missing. And I guess this guy said that they took his cat, and so he stormed the place, even though they were already planning to get the cat back to him the very next day. He held people hostage. Yeah, I don't know.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, my first question was gonna be like, wait, he couldn't just walk in and say, hey, that's Mittens, that's my cat. Like, let me get my cat.
Yeah.
And they would
no.
They're holding his cat hostage, so they were gonna give it to him anyway. And he was just like, no, I bought this tactical gear on sale. I've really been looking for a reason to use it. I'm storming this place. I'm getting Mittens back. I mean, it's not the route I would go, but yeah, I've seen people do some crazy stuff for their cats. So, and then, their dogs as well. Obviously, people love their animals as they should. But that might be a little too far, in my humble opinion.
It is a little too far. I'm trying to think what I would do for my dog. I don't feel like it would be that. Or maybe I'd write a strongly worded letter.
Oh, yeah.
Or something like that. But I couldn't imagine getting, because I'm in my head, I'm imagining the scene from Batman where they're suiting up and it shows the butt and and the leather pants pull up. You see the belt clip and everything like that. Except in the end, it's for him to go get his cat back.
Yeah, and he gets it in his his tactical vehicle, and he puts a picture of his cat in the dash.
Yeah, for you. He gives his fingers a kiss and touches.
That's good. Yeah,
that's wild. It's weird because you always hear about how in Australia it's the animals you have to worry about, but this is the one scenario where it looks like it might be the people.
Yeah. Yeah, and also the fact that I've been to Australia, the fact that there's no trash cans anywhere. Like if you finish drinking a bottle of water, you got to carry that bottle for like 150 miles before you find another trash can and then you throw it away. Which is weird though, but there's no trash on the ground, so people will carry it. You don't just but like there's no trash. It's so weird. I don't get it. What up with that, Australia? Like
it's like they're opposite of Disneyland or whatever.
Yeah,
Disneyland is all about trash within eye shot.
I don't know why I went into that rant, but hey,
no, I mean it's
off my chest.
It's relevant. I've been lucky enough to go to Australia as well. But the only thing I can remember is that there is no ozone, so your head's gonna burn. That's what always happens to me.
Holy cow!
Speaking of someone who also really loves cats, there's a news story that I saw that the London Zoo. So now we're going to skip all the way over the US and go over to London. I guess Ricky Gervais, comedian, performer, what have you, he asked if his body after he died could be fed to the lions of the London Zoo.
Hold up, wait. Yeah. That's not real. That can't be real.
So I guess he was on the Conan O'Brien podcast, and he said he wanted to give something back rather than be cremated, and his version of giving something back was to just be fed to the lions at the London Zoo.
I like Ricky Gervais, but my man is wildin'.
It seems like that's an extreme way to give something back, and I don't know that a lion really wants to eat us. Like, probably in nature, lion attacks are a real thing, but I don't know that the goal is for them to pounce us down and then kill us and then go, good, now we can feast on this person. I think they'd much prefer a gazelle. I don't want to eat a lion.
Ricky Gervais, how about, because I know you're a loyal listener to the show, how about just give them money? All right, I'm sure that'll help. Money always seems like they can buy some good food for those lions, and you can do it before you die. Like, why wait until you pass to help? You can help now. Just give them money. Make it rain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, and even I feel like whatever lions they're dealing with right now, I don't know how long a lion lives, but I mean, I feel like Ricky Gervais probably has at least a few more decades on him. Those lions are probably not going to be around. Now it's the burden of the grandchildren of the lions that he's even arguing with at this point. I don't know. There's other things you can do. I don't know. I want to go out with a bang, I guess.
Oh, yeah. That's a bang.
Speaking of going out with a bang, can we talk a little bit about Dynamite?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, okay. Let's jump right in. Did you see Snoop Dogg on Dynamite?
I did see Snoop Dogg on Dynamite. I love when anyone like that, but I feel like Snoop Dogg is for some reason always the one that comes up. But I love when anyone is like clearly a fan and gets to participate, in that way, and they're like, yeah, I'll climb that turnbuckle. I'll do it.
So I want to talk about that.
Okay, let's talk about it.
So I was there. I know I'm like 99% positive that Snoop Dogg did not go to that ring before that moment on the show. It's not like he went and rehearsed or rolled around in the ring like we do, yada, yada, yada. So that was the first time he climbed into our ring. And you can see it because when he climbed to that top rope, and when you actually, it looks normal, but when you get up there, it's higher than you really think. Yeah, and he was up there, he was like, oh, cool, maybe I should have done this.
Yeah.
And he was like, bring him closer, bring him closer, bring him closer. And he jumped off in that splash. Oh, it was beautiful. I love Snoop Dogg, man. That was so cool of him. Like, who else is going to do that? You know what I mean? Like, you got to give him credit for that. I love it.
Well, listen, I'm never going to be able to live up to Snoop Dogg, and I would never try. But I did notice maybe his splash could have used a bit more impact. And so Sky, I wanted to see, can we show Sky, because I too have climbed to the top turnbuckle. and I too have left from the top turnbuckle.
Okay.
In my one professional wrestling match. Can we show Sky my frog splash? We're seeing kind of, it's going to loop back around because I could only find a GIF. All right.
Oh.
So.
And there was no water in the pool.
No water in the pool. No. Down onto the ring.
That's pretty good.
Is that okay?
That was nice.
Now, I'm not again, not trying to compare myself to Snoop Dogg, because if we do, he actually hit someone. I missed.
Which is harder. It's harder to miss.
It is harder to miss.
It's harder when there's no water in the pool, man.
but yeah, so that was my one attempt at a frog splash, and I totally understand, because you get up there, and I climbed up there and I practiced it or whatever, but you get up there and then all of a sudden it's pretty, you're high up and you kind of want them to come closer or whatever.
You committed to that though, and you took the full belly flop on there, and it's definitely, it's different when you're in there, man. It's totally different than people think when you're looking at it, and it's even worse when it's a ladder, when you climb like a 20-foot ladder and you get up there and you're just like, okay, why did I think this was a good idea?
Yeah. Well, it took me, 30, 34, 33 or 34 years to do the frog splash, so I imagine that I'll be doing the ladder when I'm like 70.
Speaking of the frog splash,
yeah,
I can run this back to Art Barr, who was Eddie Guerrero's tag team partner, and he used to do the frog splash. And when he passed away, Eddie Guerrero started doing it in tribute to him. I believe that's true. Hopefully there's not anyone like, actually.
Yeah. Someone who has the wiki open, please go ahead and edit that to make sure that's what it says. But yeah, so like AEW, I just kind of want to get your perspective, because you're in the thick of it. How are you kind of feeling about everything that's going on with like the Elite? You know, like what are your thoughts on the state of things right now?
It feels almost like it's a transitional time, because there's so many things happening. If you look at, we're still a company really like, almost in its infancy. We just hit 2 years. We've only been doing television for a little over a year, so things are still like, we're still trying to figure things out, I think, which is exciting. But now we're kind of crossing over into that mainstream. We've had Mike Tyson, we've had Snoop Dogg. We had Shaq, which I'm wondering what's going on with that, where he is. We're becoming a little bit more mainstream, and so once we start crossing over and things, like that start to happen, it gets very exciting. It opens a lot of doors. But again, I think it's a lot of transitional times. Like you've seen Gallows and Anderson come in, and Don Callis. Like there's this feeling of like you almost just don't know what's going to happen week to week. Even myself, Sting popping up, and like week to week, it's just like, what's going to happen next? I really don't even know, and I'm in the company. It's very interesting.
Well, as a fan, it's really great to watch, because I feel like there's new surprises every single week. Like, again, my phone exploded with Sting. People texting me, "Did you see Sting? Sting's back. It's Sting and everything." And so, like, it's really exciting to see how, every single week on Dynamite, it feels like if you take social media trending, it feels like it's battling with itself over like what it can get trending, what's going on. We're recording this the day after Dynamite on the 13th, and I just was being bombarded with people talking about Darby Allin, and like just like that match and just how crazy it was and stuff. So like it's really fun. Maybe I'm more invested in this too, but I want to know maybe when you're gonna get a shot at the TNT title, because I feel like if anyone's due, Scorpio Sky.
Well, yeah, I'd probably have to get back into the top 5 first. And my singles record, in 2021 right now is 1-0. So, because things start over. But if you go back before that, if you look at my singles record in the last 2 to 3 months, it's more like 1-1. So, I've got to get some more wins under my belt and get back in the top 5, and then maybe I'll get a shot at the TNT title. We just have to wait and see. I obviously would love another shot at the TNT title, and just even beyond that, though, there are guys I want to get in the ring with. You know, there Cody and Pac. Pac is a guy that I really would like to get in there with. Eddie Kingston is another guy I'd love to wrestle. So there's a lot of guys on my list that I would enjoy getting in the ring with in the next year, and hopefully I get the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, you know, I say just hunt them down.
Oh yeah, we should.
Suit up, put on your tack gear.
Oh yeah.
pull the rubber underwear on, and then go for it, man. Because I'm gonna be rooting for you. I'm biased, but I'm gonna be rooting for you. But this I feel like we kind of came to a natural ending point for this. We've been going for even longer than I thought we would. We kind of left the book open on where we're gonna run on this one. This was a blast. I just, as a personal note, I'm very excited for this podcast. We've been preparing for it for a really long time. I'm glad it's out there. I'm glad people can listen to it and watch it. And it's so, I'm also just excited for the prospect of kind of just checking in with you every single week and just like, you know, to be honest, just shooting the shit about everything because, you know, it's fun and it does expose me to things that maybe I wouldn't have thought of before or things that didn't matter. And I also like trying to rub my enthusiasm for something off on you. It's a lot of fun. So I am just in general very excited for Wrestling with the Week and continuing to do it. And yeah, I don't know. Any final thoughts for this first episode 1?
Yeah, for me, again, I have to also say I'm so excited to finally be doing this. It's a long time in the making. We really worked hard at bringing this to the fans, and I hope people enjoy it going forward. I'm really excited to see where we're going to be in a couple of months, 6 months, a year from now, when this is like just, you know, running like a finely tuned machine. But again, I want to ask everyone to please go on Instagram. Follow the WWTWPOD, Wrestling with the Week podcast. You can also follow me at Scorpio Sky and follow James at James Willems Feet. That's
which we
if you
can
want
get
to see
into
pictures of him.
Yeah, thank you.
But if you want to see pictures of his feet, you go to James Willems, right?
Yeah.
Or what is that? Okay, it's just
the official account.
James,
there's the official account, and then there's the bootleg account. The official account's only pictures of my feet.
So, you know, so confusing.
Sometimes you're bored and you come up with something and then 2 years pass and it's kind of like not seeing Star Wars. And then even though it doesn't make sense, you just kind of like the idea that it comes up. But yeah, thank you so much. And I would also just like to add, your feedback is incredibly important to us. So we would love to, you know, hit us up on social media, on Twitter, on Instagram. Let us know what you thought. And even better than that, like, tag us in anything that you make. You know, we want you guys to be as enthusiastic about this podcast as we are. So let us know. We're toying with the idea. Eric, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're toying with the idea of getting a P.O. box. And that can be something that we can do every single week, kind of share the things that you guys share with us. And I think it would be really, really, really fun. Leave a comment on the video. So if you're watching this on AEW's YouTube or if you're watching this on Rooster Teeth, leave a comment. Let us know. We're going to be checking everything out because your feedback is very important to us. Eric, what's the status on that P.O. box?
It's you know, being worked on. There's a lot of stuff, you know, just a lot of things in motion behind the scenes and things sometimes move slowly but they are in progress. So stay tuned for the P.O. Box address because you guys are both in LA and I don't know how I would vet anything that comes in.
It's true.
So
That's
it's
true.
really something true. I've been racking my brain on, but I want people to be able to send you cool fan art and shoes and et cetera, et cetera. So it's coming soon. Don't worry about it. We'll let you know as soon as we get it.
You guys are a part of the show. You guys are very much a part of the show, and we want you to continue to be a part of the show. So please contribute in any way that you can. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Sky, thank you so much for this. This is a blast. I'm so excited.
We'll be back next week with more Wrestling with the Week.